in light of being called a liberal because I made a dig at Donald Trump, I wanted to discuss why I don't like Donald Trump, and it's not because of politics. I don't know if this is TMI, but I'm a registered independent. I don't do the I remember the second I picked up that CNN and Fox News were owned by the same people, that's when I clocked out of politics, you know? So, and this was like way long ago. This is when I was like in grade school. I figured this out, or I learned this, whatever. That's when I knew like that politics was like a whole, it's a show, it's a show. And I think it's very interesting as well when you look at a lot of public political figures, including the current president of the United States. They have a background in entertainment. I think that a lot of it is just for show. And I think that people who follow politics are stupid. And this is why I think that they're stupid. First of all, they seem to think that this country is a monarchy. Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did that, whatever. Oh, I can't believe Donald Trump did this and opened the borders, or closed the borders. He closed the borders. Apparently he did that all by himself because it's a monarchy. There aren't people backing him up, and people who are much more powerful than him, people who are like Epstein, people who are above Epstein. Okay? If there's anyone who is single-handedly making political decisions, it is not Donald Trump or any president of the United States or any president anywhere. It's the people above them. Like the Rothschilds and things like that. And this is why people are slow. Donald Trump did that. No, they wanted to do that, and then they made Donald Trump the spokesperson for it. Okay? And so let's say, this was a whole thing, in Senate, whatever. Donald Trump can't just be do you know how a democracy works? And I'm not even into this stuff. You know how a freaking democracy works? You should know. If I know, anyone should know, because I am totally not clocked into this stuff. There are senators, whatever, both on the right and the left. And they have to vote on a bill. And there is a blue bill can be passed under a red president who supposedly does not want the bill if there are enough votes or whatever for it. Okay, so if there are things with borders and stuff like that, it's not because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump might be the spokesperson for it. Donald Trump might want it personally, but there's a lot of people in Congress, whatever, who are also in favor of it. And usually these types of things have to do with Epstein type of stuff. You know what I mean? It ties into trafficking, So Donald Trump is not the only one. He's just the fall guy for it. He's the entertainer. He's the fall guy. He's the one. And I also think they purposely pick people who are very polarizing, like Donald Trump, to be president, because it generates a lot of emotional people, and that's how they energy siphon. Yeah, for anything to be passed, it's not just Donald Trump or whoever, Joe Biden, which Joe Biden was a total I don't understand. Y'all should have known that these presidents were puppets when Joe Biden took the stage. Literal. Honestly. So, they pick people they can control. And they pick people who are, entertainers and have a very polarizing personality that generates a lot of emotion from the public so they can energy siphon and distract us. So if there's stuff going on with the borders, it's not Donald Trump who did that single-handedly. There's people in the government who are probably more powerful than that man is who did that and who wanted him to be the fall person for it, wanted him to be the fall guy for it. There's people who are above Donald Trump who want that to happen, and that's why that happened. It's not because of Donald Trump. And even, taking all of that stuff, and y'all should be understanding that with the Epstein files, how powerful these people are. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Epstein in another video, about how he, too, is one of these bloodlines. As people think that he was independent, no, he was totally hired by the Rothschilds, and he's the fall guy, and he's also one of their bloodlines. His Brian Epstein was a manager for the Beatles, managed the Beatles or something like that, So it's a whole thing. Like, people don't understand how intricate and deep this stuff goes. It's not just like, oh, he did that, oh, whatever. Like, this is why people who follow politics are slow. And second of all, people who, speaking of Senate and people who are on the right and the left taking those seats in those Senate houses, whatever, they will jump ship. Like, they will, like, depending on what's beneficial to them and what the people who are in charge of them want. And I believe there's an excellent quote by Robin Williams who said that people who are politicians should be like NASCAR drivers, where they're wearing jackets of people who sponsor them. Because you know how the NASCAR drivers are always wearing, like, their gear is like all of their sponsors? Robin Williams said that politicians should be wearing jackets like that. Like, this is, like, y'all who follow Donald Trump this, oh, you're a Trump supporter? Oh, you don't like Trump? You're a lefty? You have blue hair? Like, that's, like, y'all are dumb. All of you are dumb. All of you. People who are for Trump, who are diehard Trump people, and people who are like, oh, wow, you're MAGA, you're Trump. Y'all are dumb. Like, I'm sorry. Like these these politicians are the fakest people on the planet. They will jump ship. They will go from red to blue, blue to red, depending on what suits them personally. Okay, and they'll use things like abortion and all this crap, like, to distract us and to, like, create drama and stuff. They just do what they want to do at the end of the day. And a lot of them are like Epstein, where they're bloodlines, and JFK Jr., where they're bloodlines. They're not like common people who work their way up most of the time. Not saying that never happens, but that's not the norm. And lastly, I wanted to say that I'm an OG Trump disliker. I don't hate anyone because I don't think there's any, like, I think that hate is a negative emotion. There's, like, this quote by Buddha that, I'm not a Buddhist, but there's a quote by Buddha that I love that's like, anger is like holding a hot coal or a hot rock or something and expecting it to burn the other person. And this is how I feel. Like, when it's people who I'm totally not in their circle and I don't know what's really going on at the end of the day, like, stuff like that, I'm not going to get heated. I don't know Donald Trump. I don't think he, like, and I'm, like, in New York City metropolitan area, as I said, like, I've been in New York City a lot. And, I'm not, like, rubbing elbows with, like, famous people, whatever, but, when you're in, like, areas like that, you can run into people who have interacted with people like Donald Trump very easily, and you could just ask them if they've ever met him, and, like, every time I ask them if they met Donald Trump, it's, like, not a good experience. He's, like, he doesn't have good character. And I did not like Donald Trump before he was president. I did not like that man before he was president, because of the Howard Stern interview and how he talked about his daughter. And I think there was another one on The View or something like that. And, like, there is a lot of it. Like, he has talked disgustingly about his daughter Ivanka, and I know something went down. Like, I know that girl was abused by him. So I didn't like him for that reason. And when I talk about not liking Donald Trump, it's not because of politics, it's because of crap like the Epstein file, crap like him being a PDF, and things that he said about his own biological daughter, Ivanka. Okay? Like, I didn't like him because of that, and this was years before he was even a candidate to be president. So me not liking Donald Trump has nothing to do with politics. All right? I don't follow politics because I think it's all a show. I think it's all a show, and I think the real people who are running this stuff is the Rothschilds, period. Like, I get to the source. I don't get caught up in the show.